But the question here comes that why do I need tools? Why do I need to use these tools in my during my journey in my PhD or during my like doing research? So basically, the very quick answer is just productivity. So it's and I think I posted earlier a video on tools for productive research. So the main idea here is that how to do things if you do the same thing again and again and again. So there must be some way to do it in a more efficient way. So it's about learning how to save time. It's learning about how to make use of your time in an efficient way. So I think there are different softwares, and obviously, so what suits someone, it might not suit others. So it depends on how you find it yourself. So you don't have to use Docear really, but it's from my own experience, I've tried many softwares to organize the literature, to start to organize my reading, to have like a more structured way when I write my research, and I'm gonna refer to some of the softwares that I discussed in that video. Have you watched the video? Has any of you watched that video?
Yes, I do.
Yes,
and
I do.
it was amazing. I found it really interesting.
Okay, that's great. So because what I'm about to show everyone is just a snapshot of the video. I'm just gonna share my screen first. Yeah, yeah. So now I think you can see my my screen. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so these are the sort of tools that I looked at in this video. I tried to go through like a very brief overview on what these software do, what each one of these does. So basically, this is just an example of software that I came across during my journey, my PhD. And I apologize, John, because this video that I'm referring to is in Arabic, but you still can read the slides. So you're not gonna benefit so much from listening to the video or watching the video, but you still can see what is in the slide. So basically, what we have here is that different sort of softwares for task management, like Google Calendar, Wunderlist, Productive. How to organize your references. References is very important to use software to organize your references. So most people who use Word for writing as a typing platform, so they basically use EndNote, but you can use other software like Mendeley, or I think JabRef mainly for people who use LaTeX and BibTeX. So Docear is one of the software that you can use for organizing your reading and literature, but there are other software as well. So there are other tools that you can use, like Evernote, Quicker. I tried personally Quicker. Quicker is really good, a good software that you can use for your for organizing the PDFs in your or in your library in your PC, in your computer. But I will explain why I moved to Docear. Docear is more powerful compared to Quicker, and also one of the very good reasons that I moved to Docear is that Quicker doesn't work on Mac. So it works only on Windows. So I wanted a software that works in both platforms, both operating systems. So Docear was my choice, and as I'll show you in a second, it's more powerful than Quicker. So I'm not going to go through Quicker, but it's something important to note before we start. There are other software, so that's what I started with in the beginning. So you don't have really to use Docear. There are other options, so it's up to you. It's what you think is more efficient or suits you more or help you to do your research in a more productive way. So sync and share, and I think now we all use Dropbox, so I think that's our hero. So we all know and familiar how Dropbox work. And the important thing is that to make sure that you have Dropbox application installed in your computer. So if I make any changes, or if you make any changes, then it will sync in my computer, and it is very easy and efficient way to collaborate online. So editing, we talked before about LaTeX, but I think we'll have another workshop or seminar on how to use LaTeX. So this is one of the things that I wanted to refer to before I start with what we need to do today, which is mainly Docear. So just before I continue, this is a snapshot of what you can do in using Docear. This is actually one of the, I know you can't see anything, but just show you how it, like, this is the final product. So that is the what you're gonna be aiming for, is to have a mind map similar to this, full of all your notes. So all what you see now is my notes. These are my notes related to one concept in my thesis. It was in one of the chapters, I remember it was about access to credit, and try to explain how different studies explained the idea of access to credit, how to measure it, etc. So all the aspects of this concept were just in this mind map, so you can see. So this is only one item in my mind map, and then using this, I was able to write up this chapter. So this is just a very as I said, Docear is just to organize your literature. It helps you to write up your paper, your research. So it helps you with the production of your work as well. How does it work? Basically, there are two concepts with Docear. So PDF annotation. So one reason that I really started to find or to look for a software to use in my PhD was when I realized that I spent so much time, so many hours looking for something that I have read a while ago, could be like 3 months ago, and I spent the whole day just digging into a large pile of papers that I printed and I read before, and I spent hours to try to find my notes. So it was something very inefficient and time-consuming and wasting of my time. So and then I start thinking there must be a way to do this more efficiently. So and I start looking for different softwares, and that's how my journey started with most of these software. So that was the first time when I realized that I'm not doing things the right way. So there must be a way to do this more efficiently, and that's so basically. What you do here, I stopped printing papers after my first year in my PhD. So during my first year in my PhD, I had like my office just full of papers that I printed and I read, and I wrote my notes on those papers, on the hard copies, and it's very difficult to find it. And after the first year, seriously, I thought this is not going to work that way. It's not going to work for me that way. So I had to find a digital way to do that. So basically, the first concept you need to understand is that Docear would work when you have your PDF, your papers, the papers you need to read on your screen, in your computer, and you annotate or you write your notes on the PDF. All the PDF software would allow you to write your own comments and notes on the PDF. So one advantage of this, so if you're traveling anywhere or if you work from on the move, anywhere, wherever you are, you still can access your work. So in my first year on the first year of my PhD, if I was traveling to a conference or I was traveling to visit my family and I want to do something related to my PhD, I had to carry lots of papers, printed papers with me, because that's what I'm planning to do. That is the way I used to do work. So anyway, so it is not really very efficient. So basically, now with Docear, with other software like Dropbox and etc., so I can work from anywhere, from any computer. So I'm not constrained by location or time or any of these issues. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the mind map. This is what you see. So that's how it works. So basically, you start with your readings. You have 100 papers. Those 100 papers, or you have 50 papers, so I don't want to scare you. So, but I promise you will read more than 100 papers. But in any case, so let's say we have like 10, 15 papers and you want to read those papers. Those papers are related to your topic. They're very close to your topic, but in the same time, these papers, you want to look at different things in those papers. So you want to look at what is the research question, what is the main finding, what is the methodology that you've used, and etc. So there are different ideas you're gonna learn from each paper. So in your PhD or in your research in general, you will learn how to be selective when you read as well. So some papers you really don't have to read the whole paper. You probably would need to. It depends how close it is to your work. So sometimes I read a paper just to find out what they're trying to do or how trying to address the research question. Some other paper I just have a brief look and I see from the abstract. It's actually that's all what I need to know about this paper. So I don't really need to read the whole paper. So anyway, so these are the two concepts that you will rely on. So the PDF annotation, so you need to read from the screen. In my office, I have a big screen at home now, where I'm talking to you now. So I have a 32-inch screen, so it's like a massive screen in front of me. So that's where I work, and because I read from the screen, so that's why I have a big screen. So the other thing is the mind map. So finally, before we start, I'd show you with a practical example how to use Docear. So why Docear? As I said before, it works for all or most operating systems. So if you have a Windows computer or a Mac or Apple or whatever, so it probably will be fine with you. So it should work with you. And also it's open source software, which means it's free. So that's very important thing. When you decide which software is the best for you, the cost is one of the important elements as well that you need to think about. So with Docear, it's not a problem. It's free software. It works on different computers, so it's not a big deal. So what I'm trying to do next, then I will show you the one of the examples on. Yeah, so this is Docear. So what you can see here is the main screen. So first, just quickly show you, it's very straightforward this is quicker, by the way. This is what as you can see, it doesn't work on Mac. That's why I had to think of something different. So if I just move to, Docear. So Docear is very easy to download. So you can just go, if you go to Google and just type Docear. So it's going to be the first option. So all what you need to do is to download it depends which operating system you have. So this is the one for Windows, this is for Linux, this is for Mac. So I downloaded this one today, and you just need to install it in your computer. So once you install it, and you so this is the main screen. So of course we have some projects. So in the left hand side, these are your projects. So these are different projects on my Docear. So what I have here is one mind map. So it's actually one of these projects, and I think it's for this one, from the fiscal policy project. So just to show you an example. So in this one, these all my PDFs. So these all the papers I've read in this or I'm planning to read. So it doesn't have to be what you actually finished reading, because you will import all the PDFs into Docear, and then from here. So as you can see, I start grouping these papers based on my reading. So these are the papers I read, and these are my notes from the paper. So the advantage here is that I'm not going to, once I read the paper, once I finish reading, when I want to start writing, then Docear allows me to export only my notes. So I don't have to get lost again in the paper and in the details. So all what I need to do is just to print my notes. Once I have my notes in front of me, I sit and start writing. So one way to do this, as I said, you can have different ideas. So one of the things that I was working on, I wanted to learn about the fiscal multiplier and how the literature measure the fiscal multiplier for one of the papers I'm working on. So I did this. So that was one building block in my paper. So I want to learn about fiscal multiplier. I want to be informed about what the literature said about the fiscal multiplier. So you can organize this in whatever way you want. So I'm going to start a new project now. So I just wanted to show you this is the product. This is what we're going to end up having at the end, and that is what we're aiming to have at the end. So let's now start with, as you can see, as I said, this part here, this panel here is your project. So if you have 100 projects, you will have all projects here. To start a new project, so basically you will see these menus. So if you want to start a new project, so we're starting a project from the scratch, all what you need to do is to just go to project and then you start a new project, okay? So when you want to start when I click on a new project, then you have two options. You could start from the scratch if you don't have a PDF, or if you haven't downloaded anything yet. But in my case, or what I prefer usually, prefer to do is to have my literature organized in one folder. So this is Ahmed folders, and I asked his permission to share this with you. So I'm going to use his literature folder to show you how to use Docear. So this is Ahmed folder, the Dropbox folder shared with me, and the literature folder has all these papers. So over time, of course, you will have more than these papers. So as you go in your PhD or with your research, you will have more papers. So before I start with Docear, and this is something we discussed before, so you need to be very organized when you download a paper. Again, I had this issue before. I download a paper, I give a paper a name, and then I download the paper again, another copy of the same paper, maybe three months later, and I don't remember that I downloaded this paper before. So I download it again, I start reading again in the same paper, I give it a different name, and then I have like a few copies of the same paper on my computer, and I get lost which one I updated or which one I annotated first. I don't know. So my point is that now it's very important to be very organized when you name the PDFs in your computer, and I think we already agreed on that, how to name the PDFs. So for example, this paper now, as you can see, the first paper, so these are the surname of the two authors, and the paper was published in 2003, and it is published in the American Economic Review. So you could know this from, you don't need to open the paper to know what this paper about. So I know this this paper for these two authors. It's published in 2003, and it's in the American Economic Review. So similarly, this is probably the World Development, WD. Yes, so this is the World Development. So I can, so by just looking at the paper from outside here, so I know what it is about, and about the authors as well, when it was published, etc. So this, for example, this is a working paper. Remember the small letters WB after the underscore. So again, these are things that we discussed earlier, and I posted this on Bitrix. So hopefully you all will follow the same way of naming the PDF. I mean, even if you want to use different way to do that, but as long as you are organized, as long as you are consistent, that will make your life much easier. So even if you don't want to follow my way to do this, it's up to you. Again, the most important thing is to be consistent all the time and to be organized all the time. Okay, so now let's say now we want to start a project, a Docear project for Ahmed. So by the way, Ahmed, you still can use, you should be able to use the same one, because I'm gonna place this in the shared folder. So now, as I said, we're starting a new project, but we know that we already have a PDF already. The PDF is, or the PDF papers are already in the folder. So all what I need to do is to give it a name. Ahmed, what do you want to name the project, your project?
The economic cost of conflict?
Oh, this is long name, Ahmed. So this is one thing you need to learn about naming things.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
it's too long. Look at this. Look at this. Geopolitics. Liquidity oil. So it's my own way. So you don't have to follow it. But I'm saying just try to avoid have like space in the name, because some softwares that sometimes create problem with the path or with the directory. So I just trying to avoid this. So, and this is the case with this data, with other software, with MATLAB, etc. So usually people try to avoid, when they name any folder or file, they try to avoid spaces. So anyway, so it's up to you. So let's say, I don't know.
Could be like conf, like CONF,
Conf?
ECO maybe.
Yeah, conf. Yeah, cost, for example.
Yeah.
You see, so it sounds even better. So anyway, so what we need to know now, we need to tell Docear where the project home, where should, because Docear produces or create a few files with each with every project, every new project. So you need to tell Docear where to put this. So basically, this is the default path or directory for this. But usually, I personally try to put it in the same folder where my project is. So what I'm going to do is just you need to browse, and then you need to just find the. So it's Dropbox. And I think it's Swansea PhD, and this is Ahmed Gamal. So basically what I'm trying to do here is just I'm choosing this folder. So I choose Ahmed folder. So it should be any file Docear creates will be in this folder. Okay. So what Docear does, it gives you some example here, like of the literature. So all what I need to do is just I don't need to include the demo files. It's just gonna add more files. So any folder or wherever your literature is, so you can add it or remove it here. So if you have, for example, your literature, maybe, or your papers or research papers you want to read, or which are related to your project, if they are in between like 2-3 folders, which I don't recommend, but just say you can add more than one folder. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to tell Docear where my research papers are, and these will be imported into the program. So as I said, I prefer to have only one folder, and this is literature in Ahmed in the shared folder with Ahmed. So I'm going to choose that one. So, and I untick this one as again to avoid having extra files in my project which I don't need. So basically, the demo files is for those people who starting Docear for the first time and they have no idea what this is, and they try to see how it works. So it's not really relevant here. So anyway, so what I'm going to do here is just to finish, and once I do that, you will see that it should come with the because sometimes sorry. Sometimes Docear is a bit funny with Mac. So sorry, just I had to quit the program and launched again. So hopefully, yeah. So this is the project. So it just didn't show it for the first time because I have some Java issue problem, but it's working. So it's not a problem. So we have this is an old mind map. So I don't want this one. So this is good now to know how to close a mind map. So from home, you can close the current one. So I don't need really to see this one. I'm starting a new project from the scratch. So now I want to import these, or I want to open this mind map in the library, in this project. You remember, this is the new, can you all see this? Conf cost? Can you see it, Ahmed? This is your project.
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So now if I just double click on that, so I have this literature and annotation. All what I want to do here is to import these papers into Docear. So these are your papers, Ahmed. Is that right?
Nicer. I like it.
Yeah. So I'll show you what's happening now. So guys, so this is all the folder, all PDFs in that folder. Okay. So this is what Ahmed provided before. This is what Ahmed is planning to read here. So can you please mute your mics, guys, because it's a bit noisy, so I can't. Heba, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. So Yeah, so you see here, this is a new folder, Ahmed. Do you see this data? This is just created now by Docear, and all the files that Docear will create is here. So don't worry about what is created there, what is in this folder. So I'm gonna show you this later, how to use it later. But this is not a problem now. So if I go back to the literature, so let's now say I've read those papers, or what the first thing basically, even before I read the paper, is the first note I put in the paper is the title. Okay, so basically what this does is whenever you import the PDFs into Docear, the first note will be the title of the paper. So that means I don't really need to name the paper by the title, because when I import this in Docear, I will have it the first thing. So this is the first line in my notes will be the title of the paper. And you see, this is the same with all papers. So I already did this for the other papers as well in this folder. So if you want to put a new note, so for example, this is, so before I put a new, this is just an example of what I do. The second thing I do in any paper I read, I try to see what the paper does. So what the paper is trying to do, which is the research question. So this paper is trying to investigate the economic effects of terrorist conflict. Okay, so very simple. So this is the first thing. And basically sometimes, or most of the time, you will see something about the findings or the main finding in the abstract. So this is something I like to get in the first time I look at the paper. I want to see what the paper find. What is the key finding in this paper? So these, you see, these are the first three notes I would make about any paper. Okay, so it's up to you. It's your way. So, but my point is that this is the first thing I'm looking for in this paper. So first, I put the title. Second, it's up to you the way you do this, by the way. So it's up to you. But this is my own way. That's what I prefer. Then I try to find out what is the research question, what this paper is trying to do, and then if there is any hint about the finding, or even I can go to the finding section just to know what the paper found. Okay, so this is very important to me. And once you read the abstract, really, you would know how relevant this paper is to your work. So you would decide how much time you devote to this paper, or to like how much, or do you need to read the whole paper, or just actually this paper is fine now, just get an idea about what it's trying to do, and it's not relevant, it's not very close to my work, so I'm not probably going to spend so much time reading it or in detail. So you can just skim over the paper, and that's it. Anyway, so this is just a way. So if I want to start a new, for example, if let's say I've read the paper, I put all the comments, etc. And one of the comments you'll see at the end here, just show you, like, I put all my comments, just I want to find it. I'm sure I put something at the end. Yeah, so here, this is another, like an example of what you can do. So it's very straightforward. If you wanna put a new, let's say this is a new comment or whatever. But just make sure you save this. So make sure once you finish your annotation, just make sure you save the PDF. So because you want Docear to see this, okay? You want Docear to update your notes. So once you do this, and then I did the same for the other paper. So I start with the title, with the research question, and etc. So once you do this, if you want, if you have a new paper that's not there, if you want to make sure that Docear has the latest PDFs you've added to the folder, just refresh this. So once you refresh this, it reload the folder. It go to the folder and upload. So we didn't put any papers. That's why you didn't see any changes. So let's say if I download another paper and I add it later on. So what you need to do just to make sure you've got all the papers there. So you just reload this. So this is the paper that we looked at now, this paper. So if you look at this, you'll see what we have now. So we have the title, as you see. So the first thing, I have the title, and then that's the research question. This is the main finding, and then comes any other like notes or comments I made about this paper. So the nice thing here is that you can fold this. So I don't have to read it now because I don't have to, or I don't need to read the comments now because it's something I can do later on. And now I want to move to this paper, for example. So this paper, I didn't read this paper yet, so I just put the title, yeah? And this is the first thing I do with any paper I download. So I name it using the same way, that the surname of the authors, the year of publication, and the initials from the journal. So I have an idea about where this paper was published and when, and who are the authors as well. Okay, so basically what happened, as I said, this is the incoming, means this is everything inside this folder. Okay, so for example here, let's say if I want to let's say, yeah, so if I'm reading this, for example here, so this is one good thing about Docear. Okay, so I want to know what this is. So I said, or I wrote something about conflict should be seen as an essential dimension of economics. So I don't know where this came from, or let's say I don't know what I meant by this. So all what I need to do is just to click in this, and Docear will go straight to that point. So it's not going only to open the PDF, it's gonna take you where exactly your note is in the PDF. And that's a very powerful thing. So rather than wasting your time going through the paper again, trying to find, like, you see the other way, I would just go, oh, this is not the note. Oh, this is not what I meant. Oh, this is not what I meant. So you don't need to do that. So you don't need to waste time to find where your note is in the PDF or where your PDF is in your computer. So all what happens here, or what what Docear does is just take you straight to where this note is. So you see in your PDF. So this is exactly where my note is. So then if I don't remember what I meant by that, all what I need to do is just I read that part, or I see. So it's really time, like it's very efficient in managing your time when you do this. So it's very easy. I can go to it anytime. So this is one thing. So let's now, so say now I don't like this. This is the first, or this is the starting point. So I want to create, as you saw in this, by the way, you can open more than one mind map at the same time. So I'm going to open this one. Let's say now I'm looking at how to measure the cost of war, or how to define conflict, whatever concept you want to do. Or I want to write something related to the interaction. So I want to create more nodes, and that is the main idea. So now we understood how the annotation work. Why is it important to import the annotation into Docear? And then, and by the way, before I move to the nodes or to the mind map idea, if you change anything here, so if you update anything here, it will be updated in your PDF. So it sync your updates in your PDF, and the other way as well, it would work. So if you update something in your, so let's say if I go to, these are the mind maps, by the way, that are open now. So this is the, if I want to go back to the mind map, I don't know if you can see this bar here in the bottom here. So now I'm just going back to the Ahmad's project. Okay, so let's say if I updated something about this. So if I change this, okay, if I type something different here, or if I edit this note, okay, so Docear will update the note here as well. Or if I did it here, Docear will update it in the PDF. So this is a really good way as well. So you can update it either in Docear itself, or you can update your notes in the PDF, and update, and Docear will update it, or will sync it together. So now, if you notice, there's a star here. Do you see this star, Ahmed? Ahmed?
Yes, doctor, I can see it.
Yeah. Yes, you know, this star means that you've made some changes in your mind map, but you didn't save these changes. So all what I need to do is just to save these changes. Okay, just this is just by the way, while we here. So this is how to save the changes you made to your, and you see this blue means this is the active mind map. So this is the one that I'm working on now, which is related to Ahmad's project here, the cost of conflict. Okay, so now if you've done, or if you worked it before with mind map, so this would be straightforward to you. So what you need to do is just to think about your ideas, what you want to do, and then you can go to nodes here, and from nodes here you can add either new child or new sibling. So when you add sibling or child, so sibling means the same level, child is just underneath. So it's something belong to this. So if I start with a child, for example, here, let's say you can give this a title. Let's say this is Cost of War, or this is what I read, or whatever. And then you can play with this around later on, so you can change it later. So let's say measuring, let's say measuring conflict, or I don't know, cost. Ahmed, do you have any ideas?
Conflict, for instance. Conflict.
Okay. So anyway, so now I want this to be. You can do all the formatting things. So I want this to be, let's say in bold. So I want to see it black. But if you want to make it more formatting, you can go to this. So from here, you can change the font. You see formatting here from the menu. You can change anything, the color if you want. If you want to make it, if you fancy some colors. So now it is blue. If you notice this, if you want to make it wherever. So any changes in the formatting from here. So I'm going back to notes. So now I'm going to do what? I'm going to say, okay, this paper actually talk about cost of war. So I want to move this paper under this. So I read this paper and I want to move it here. So all what you need to do while you're here, you just need to create a child, because child means it's underneath this one. So when you fold this, it will fold all the children, all the nodes that belong to this. So all what you need to do is very straightforward. You can either you can cut and paste, by the way. So I highlighted this. So if you cut this, now it is gone, if you see it. And then if you paste it here, it just come here. So you see? So, and that is the main idea here. Can I cut it? I want it to move. Or you can drag and drop, by the way. So you can just drag and drop. So this is what it did now. So let me just put another child or another sibling. So when I create another sibling, so I want to drag this and just drop it here. So now it is sibling in this one. So once I do this, so because I don't want to work on this now, or I finish this now, and I want to move to another ideas, then I just do this. Anyway, so let's say now we created, depends how many, if you want more siblings or if you want more children for this, so you can create another one here. So it's up to you how you want to organize this. Even with this one, you can create different ideas. If you want to fold this to see what comments you have, sorry, unfold it or fold it again, it's up to you. So you can, I can have like a siblings here. So a sibling, you see, this is another note. So it's up to you. So you can name it the way you like, etc. And as I said, if you work it before with mind maps, you should be very familiar with this. So all things you need to do with notes will be here under this. So you can have, you can edit, you can delete. Let's say I want to delete this. So it's easy if you just highlight it and you go and delete it and ask you, of course, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Now I deleted it. You see, the stars came back again. That means there are some changes that are not saved, and I need to save my mind map. So just make sure you save your mind map from time to time. All the settings, as I said, I'm not going into details, but if you want to play with this, so there are different ways to do this here. So different settings and sorting, how to sort the children here, for example. Do I want to sort them alphabetically, or depending on the time you added them, etc. So it's something that you can play with. So before I move on then, so let's say if I have a new folder that I want Docear to import, so you can add a monitoring folder here. So you can, and as I said, I don't prefer that. I prefer all my sources, all my PDFs in one folder. But again, if it happens that you've got two projects that they overlap together in the literature, so you can simply add a new folder here. So you can add a new folder, and any PDFs in this folder will be imported in this one. So again, it will be, so anything you import new or any new PDFs will come under incoming. So this is your inbox. So this is where everything comes to first. And then you can play with this around. So also you can, let's say these are my notes. And now I'm actually trying to type, rather than organizing the papers themselves, I'm actually trying to organize my writing. So let's say I was trying to say, this is where I'm going to write up now. So I'm going to say, okay, I want a child for this. And this child will be the introduction, my introduction. So what you can do here now, so you can actually, all what you need to do here is to add, for example, some notes. Let's say, so you can drag and drop notes. That's what I'm trying to say. So rather than dragging and drop, like here, we learn how to organize the paper themselves into under some main themes, if you want to call them. And then if I now in the process of writing up, I can actually start ordering my writing up as well. So for example, this paper investigate blah blah blah. All what I need to do is just I put this here. So again, the nice thing about Docear is it keep the source. So now Docear still has the information about this, and the information about this meaning where it came from. So you don't have to worry about the source of this paper, etc. So I just want to know. Yeah, sorry, I just want to show you how to do that. But oops, yeah. So everything about the bibliography or about the references should be saved here. So, but this is a more advanced step in Docear. So don't worry about this. So I'm just gonna go Control Z. So just put it back. But again, if you want to keep it, so Control Z is again, you just undo what you've done, the last step you've done. So anyway, I just did undo to return the note to the to this paper. But again, you still can. Let's just keep it. We're not gonna. It's not gonna be a problem. So let's just keep it. But as I said, this shouldn't be an issue. But you need to know how to link the references from in Docear. So or how to import the bibliography in Docear. But this is something I'm not going to cover today. But again, so we'll keep it just simple as simple as it could be that way. So let's now say we've read the paper. We've read all the papers, or we've read enough papers. So you don't have to do this when you read all the papers. So you can just start with a few papers, and then you feel like now I'm in a position to write, or even without being without starting writing, you could just want to. You may want to read your notes. I want to read my notes. I want to know where I want to read more, or whether I'm just now in a position to start writing a section in my paper or wherever. So now it's time to export my notes, and this is what I was talking about. So once we've done the annotation, we've done the mind map, we've done all our ideas, everything nice there is something like similar to what I showed you here before. And this one, so I've got my ideas sorted here. Everything you see is there. So I want to import all these notes in one place. So I don't want to go back and read the papers again. All what I want is my notes. I want to see my notes now printed out, and I want to see, or maybe in another mind map, by the way, so you don't have to print them out. But I personally, I just put them in another file, and I print them out and look at them, read through, and then decide whether what else I need to do, or whether I've got enough, or whether I should start writing. It's up to you. So it's the way you like to work. So anyway, so what the last thing is to export. Then, so if you go here from the top here, so all what you need to do is just to export your map. And the nice thing about Docear, first you need to decide where you're gonna export your map. So I'm gonna just put it in the same folder, in the shared folder. Okay. So Docear give you the different options, so you can export your map in different format. So I basically just put it in a Word format. So you choose Word, and all what it's going to do now is I'm just gonna put, so it's going to export it into the shared folder in a Word format. So let's save this one, and let's go and see what is in this folder, what we have in this folder. So this is Ahmed folders, remember? So here, this is a new folder. This is a new Word file now, which is we just exported now. Of course, you can give it whatever name you want. This is the name of your your mind map. So it's just, you can change this if you want. So this is the this is not the print layout, so I'm just going to change it to the print layout. So what we have here, so let's say, of course, these are things like you can't change from the formatting, so I don't like it to look like that, but it just was a very quick example how to use. So under incoming, you will see these are the papers under incoming, by the way. So this is what so you see them in the same order. Again, this is something you can't change from the setting. So what I'm highlighting here, just to show you, now I know this is the paper, these are my comments from this paper, and then here measuring the cost, if you remember, this was on one section where we drag these two papers underneath, and here the other paper which we had, and this was one of the notes under the introduction. So again, as I said, if you want to do this successfully, or if you want to do this correctly, then you need to know how to link this to the references with Docear, and unfortunately, this doesn't work with Mac. So the add-on, so which you need to install in your computer, and if you install this, it's a Word add-on, and I'm going to show it to you. It links the references into your Word. So basically, while I'm working on typing up, writing up, then I can actually, all I can do, I can drag from Docear and I can drop in Word, and it brings the notes as well as the citation as well. But this works only with Windows computer. So if I'm just going to show you how to download this to do this. So if you go, so this is called Docear for Word. So this is the application, okay? And as I said, unfortunately, this application is not for Mac. It's only for Word on a Windows computer. Okay, so and that is the idea, to insert references and bibliographies from your Docear directly into your document, and that's how it works. So that's the advantage of this. But unfortunately, I don't use it that way, and as I showed you, I can't import because I can't import the bibliography and use the citation directly from Docear because I'm using a Mac. So I'm now doing this presentation from a Mac computer, so I don't have this option to do this. But anyway, so if you work on a computer, in a Windows computer, then you can install this amazing add-on to Docear, and I'm just going to show you how quickly on using their video how it works. So it's 2 minutes video. I'm just going to probably listen to that. Just want to jump to the writing up.
When you want to look up some information, you click on an annotation as shown.
Yeah, so this is the bibliography part, you see? So
that's the metadata category you like, or copy them. Docear extracts the metadata from your PDF files and creates references. Move your mouse over a PDF or annotation, and the bibliographic data is shown. With Docear's unique concept, you can manage literally thousands of PDFs, including all the annotations you created, and Docear can do even more. Docear helps you draft and write your own papers, assignments, books, or theses. Outline your paper and start writing. You can copy your PDFs and annotations to your draft, including the bibliographic data. Docear offers many features to format your draft. You can insert images, either from your hard drive or directly from a PDF. You can insert formulas with LaTeX. Hide information that you don't need to see. Format your text. Add icons. or summary nodes, or create additional notes. When you're done drafting your paper, export it. You can choose from many formats: Microsoft Word, PDF, SVG, PNG, LaTeX, HTML, and many more. Then switch to your text processing software and give your draft the final editing. If you're using Microsoft Word, copy your references in Docear, paste them in Microsoft Word, and select your favorite citation style from more than 1,700 available styles. Done! Your paper is ready to be published. Docear helps you discover new literature.
Okay, so that's the main idea, guys. So you could, if you use Word on Microsoft Word and on a Windows computer, then you could actually start typing, writing up your paper in a Word in Word, and then you could use the notes you've made in Docear, and then you can just drag and drop in your Word document, and then the citation is there as well. So you can use this for citation as well to manage your references as well. But again, I just didn't do it because I haven't used it, because I don't have this option on a Mac, and more importantly, I don't actually use Word anyway. So it wasn't a very important feature for me, because I use LaTeX and I don't use Word to type my work. So I don't really need to do that. So in LaTeX it works, and it works differently. So it's another issue, and probably we can meet again. We can arrange another meeting to go through how to use LaTeX for typing as well. So I think that's everything I want to cover basically. So this is a very, very quick overview of how to use Docear, you still need to play with these things, formatting, resources, references, so all these options here. So we haven't covered most of them, but basically just to sum up, the main idea here is the idea is to download your PDF, to read from your screen, to write your comments in your PDF, and then to go to Docear, upload your PDF, or refresh this button here to make sure that the new PDFs that you've just added are imported in Docear, and then start making sense of all your comments by exporting them in another format, or maybe export them in another mind map, and then you start writing up. Just one thing, again, if you just last thing, if you right click on any paper, it'll give you different options related to that. So you can, it's like a very basic way of working in a computer. So again, if you right click, for example, if I want to annotate or update, import new annotations only, because let's say I went back to the same PDF and I made new annotations, and I don't want really to import the whole folder again. I just want to update the annotation for that PDF. Just go and import new annotation, and that's it. So of course, there's no there are no new annotations here. We didn't put more comments. Anyway, so that's the idea. So you need to play with these options here and learn how to use them. So this was just a very quick overview on how to use Docear, and I think I'll just I'll give you the chance now if you have any questions about how to use this, or about anything we've covered today. So how do you find it, guys? Do you think it's useful? Is something that you're planning, or you might think to use?
Yeah, I think it will help us to come back to any paper, to find it in the easy way, and to save our notes and comments, I think.
Yeah, that's a good reason. Yeah, because if you do the things the old way, where you just handwrite your notes on a piece of paper, and then it's just going to take you ages to go back to these notes lists. If you write something 3 months ago, believe me, it's going to take you the whole day to find it. So, and that's something I was really struggling with, because that I used to do things the old way. So, and then I thought it's not going to work anymore. So that's why I started thinking what is out there to use as well. So, anyone else apart from Muhammad?
That was very impressive, actually. Like, I like that part of my work actually is done. So that's, I'm so happy for that.
You can, all what you need to do, Ahmed, by the way, is just to install Docear on your computer, and then you can, rather than starting a new project, you can just find the project that we created now, or you can start your own project. So it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would start it. But actually, it was really impressive. I mean, the mind mapping and the way of organizing the literature review was very, very impressive. So that I like it.
Good, good. That's good. Good. Fatma, what do you think, Fatma?
I think it's a very amazing way to improve our work and to save our time and effort. And I like this program so much. So
you think it's a good way to import your to export your notes only and then go through. So you see, guys, you just can go through the notes. So as I said, anything related to formatting, you can change in Docear. So that's not a problem. But my point here, once you have your, just imagine these are only my notes. So I don't need to go back to the papers. And the good news is that, or the good thing is that if you copy that PDF and place it in another project, for example, okay, so you don't have to read the whole paper and to do the same comments again, because it's already saved there in your PDF. And the good thing here is that, and why is it important to use the to be consistent when you name the PDFs that you downloaded, is when you download the same PDF. Let's say I download something like last year, and that happens many times with me. So I read something like 2 years ago, and I forget it. So it's very easy to forget what you read like 2 years ago, okay? And then I'm working a new project. I'm downloading the new paper, the same paper, and I'm naming the same. I get, of course, because you can't save the same two files under the same name in the same folder, it will send you a warning message that you can't use this name. So I realized that actually I've read that paper before, and that paper is already in the folder, and all I need to do is just to go back and read that paper. So, or go back and read my notes from that paper. So I don't have to read the paper again. If I don't do that, or if I'm not following the same, if I'm not consistent when I'm naming the files I downloaded in my computer, then what would happen here? I would download the paper. I've read that paper. I've done that effort 2 years ago, but now I forget. I don't remember. I will download it again. I will read it again and make different notes and so on. So I would just save that time if I'm consistent when I'm naming the papers. Also, if I want a paper on my computer, it's very easy to search for it, because you know how you name the papers, yeah? So all I need to know is just I'm gonna type the surname of that author, okay? And I'm gonna find all his papers on my computer, okay? So I don't need to worry about the title of the paper, because if I want to know the author or find whether I have this paper on my computer or not, all I need to do is just to search for the surname of one of the authors, and then you find it. Okay. Let me just ask John. How do you see this? This, John, did you try it before, or this is your first time to see it?
I was just installing it as this started.
Okay,
so I'm probably going to start using it after this is finished.
Oh, so you started using it already?
I've got it installed now.
Okay, so you're ready to go. Yeah, you're ready to go.
I'm going to try it after this, I suspect.
Yeah. By the way, I sent you an invitation to a new shared folder between us.
Yes,
so
yes.
If you can accept that invitation, and if any work you want to share with me, just place it on that folder.
Yep.
Okay, good. Heba.
Thank you, Dr. Hani, for your presentation. I think that this is a big deal for PhD students, and I'll install it now and start to learn.
Okay, that's good. I'm really happy, guys, you find this useful. And again, if we all start working using the same softwares then that means we can support each other. Yeah. So you can ask me questions, or Hiba can ask Muhammad if she doesn't know how to do something, or Ahmed can ask John, or John can ask Fatma. So my point is that having working in a similar way, that will help us to collaborate together, and also support each other as well. So I think if we start moving to Docear when we organize our literature and our work, then if there's something that you can't do in Docear, probably you can ask Ahmed, you can ask Hani, you can ask John. So you still have your own network to support you. But this is not all. This is a very active community for here with Docear. So if you, of course, there is user manual. So if you go under software here in their website, if you still follow my screen, you will see there's a user manual. So with the user manual, you can actually go and read everything about the software. It's a large one, so you actually can go and enjoy. So if there's anything that you don't know how to do, just go and read and find it in the user manual. It's very detailed one. So with the snapshot as well. So everything with pictures, with images. So it shows you how to do it. Okay, so you have really no excuse if you really want to learn how, or if you want to master this software. It's very straightforward. It's just the support is there. So this is the manual. So this is a very important resource here. Another way of support here, or another place where you can find support, is the forum. I don't know where it is. Where is it? Support. Yeah, I think it's here. Yes, it's forums. So when you go to forums, just again, of course you need to, if you want to post something, but if you want just to read, you can just read all these bugs and feedback, questions, blah, blah, blah. So this is a support forum. So you can sign up and post your questions if you have a question, but please, before posting a question, try to find it, because this annoys people, by the way. So if it is something very simple and straightforward and you didn't do your homework first to find it, and you ask questions, of course, there are some people who are patient, are nice and very kind, and will answer your question. Some other people, they will reply in a very rude way. So it gives not a good picture about you, like your image, about as a lazy person, like someone who's lazy, who doesn't want to Google something, or to spend 10-15 minutes flipping through the manual or the questions. So you might be asking a question that already was asked before. So this is not going to be a good presentation of your image. So basically what I'm trying to say here is, whenever you struggle with something, just try to find it first yourself. Look at the manual, try to play with the software, try to find a question that was already asked before. And if you try all this, try to ask in your circle here with other members, and then if we can't find it, then we'll go back and we'll go to the support forum and ask questions, and hopefully we'll find answers. So this is another place to find support. So again, so from software support, you have the user manual, and you have the forums. Docear, if you want to register for an account with them, so you don't have to, but if you want to register an account, and if you want to sync your work, your maps online, so it's not just on your computer, that's up to you. So this is something you don't have to do, but it's up to you. Frequently asked questions, so you can go on this and read more about what that means and how it works again, and different questions were asked before. So I think that's it. So that's what I wanted to cover, and I think I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, going back to how to get to the user manual. So the user manual, Hiba, is just from support. Yeah, software support manual. Ahmed already replied. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So Ahmed even replied to Hiba's question before I saw it. So that's the support I'm expecting. Yeah. So we're supporting each other. We're learning together. This will help us. Okay. This will help us to use to be more productive. It's really different, because through my PhD I was working alone, and I saw how painful this is. So it's not very helpful. But of course, if I wish to have a similar group like yours, so please be open about your research, about the tools you use. Post your questions on Bittrex. Use Bittrex as just think of Bittrex as our own Facebook, yeah? So just post your questions. If you got a question, just post it there, and then hopefully someone will answer it. One of the group members will answer your question. And if it's something that none of us is able to answer, then we'll go together and find it, how to respond to that question, or how to solve this issue. Okay. So that's all for today. Any question, guys? Okay, great. Thank you, guys. And hopefully now you all will start using Docear. And as I said, that will help us to work together using similar softwares that will give us good support among ourselves. Thank you so much for coming today, and have a nice Christmas and nice New Year. And I'll see you next year. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.